this isn't the game we grew up loving, kicking ball on the street, and the beautiful game, if you like. You don't want to be coming out with phrases and cliches, but that's what it was. Football's soul is gone. There is no soul.
You are listening to House of Football, brought to you by Sports Joe and William Hill.
Hello, I'm Eric Lalor. Welcome to House of Football, episode 18 with William Hill and Sports Joe. Delighted to say we've two stalwarts of the show in situ, Alan Cawley and Stephen Hunt. Lads, you're very, very welcome.
I'm a bigger stalwart than him, though.
You are a bigger stalwart, but still, Stephen keeps coming back, and he's coming from England. You know, that's a bit of a trek now.
I'm coming from my holiday home.
Your holiday home.
Sorry, you deserve
giving us a big one now.
Money bags.
We're only 20 seconds in, he's giving us a big one.
Sorry, go on.
What I loved about the two of you lads is true Irish optimists. The first day we've had a little bit of sunshine in about 4 weeks, and 2 years are in shorts. I love it. I feel underdressed. Although, as you can see, for people watching on YouTube, I am firmly on the Irish bandwagon, supporting the girls in green on their journey down under.
You love a jersey, Eric.
I do love a jersey,
don't you?
I saw an article last week on one of the other stations saying, at what age should a man stop wearing football jerseys? And I was like, because I was in that station doing a talk the week before in my Bowes Dublin bus jersey, and I said, is it because I wore my Bowes Dublin bus jersey? And they refused to answer. But anyway, I think everyone should be donned the green, and that's one thing I'd like to just start off with, right? The World Cup is on at the moment, okay? Irish women are there. If the men were there, the whole country will be decked out in green, white and orange. Now, there's only certain pockets around Dublin, around Ireland, where there's green, white and orange, and that's primarily around the neighbourhoods of where these girls grew up in. And you just wonder, why isn't there that passion out there? Any thoughts on that at all, Al? Or just... Yeah,
I agree, yeah, and it's probably just... I pass by Ringsend every evening going over to RTE, and obviously Abbey Larkin, and the place... Unbelievable. Talk about well decked out. That's number one. Down Ringsend, they've really got behind Abbey, and there's bunting everywhere, posters, flags, and it's brilliant to see. Why it's kind of not all over the country, I think there's, as you say, there is pockets in different parts of the country as well where the girls are from. Lots of clubs doing watch-alongs and stuff with young members of the different clubs, girls and boys, which is good. But it's just because it's their first tournament, Eric. Obviously it's still in its infancy in terms of the women's game trying to grow and develop. We're hoping off the back of the girls qualifying and doing well that this becomes the norm and to start getting to major tournaments every year and getting better and better, and then I think you'll see it kind of getting even bigger and bigger the hype. But
the viewings, right? The viewings are so important for this one, to create memories for young kids for the next one, and then it'll. And
from what I hear, Stephen, funny enough, see the audiences that's tuning in for the games, unbelievable numbers from what I've been told. The game the other day, like the numbers were incredible.
At the time as well, 11 a.m. You know what I mean? It's not the ideal time to show a match, but to get figures like that. Stephen, you haven't been on the show in a while. How have you been?
Been good, actually.
You look great now, in fairness. You look sun-kissed.
I'm over and back with Rosslare and the UK at the moment, bit of work, but once I hit Rosslare, I'm shorts, rain, hail, snow. I'm in my shorts straight away, and
we had
holiday mode.
Not even holiday mode. Just like once you get past that roundabout about a mile outside Rosslare Strand, you're in good place. Apart from the wind on the golf course, you're all right. Like.
Have you been watching the Women's World Cup yourself?
I watched quite a bit of it actually.
Enjoying it,
yeah. It's one of them where it's on in the office and working. You turn it on. The Irish game, I kind of
You have an office, Stephen?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes the missus doesn't see my day.
No office, don't mind.
Yeah, and literally, switch myself off for the Ireland game. Watched it. Really impressed with the performance. Shame about the result, but really encouraging performance, and looking forward to tomorrow now.
And you've been covering the games for RTE. What's your impressions of the tournament so far?
Yeah, it's been great, Eric. I've done 5 games now, is it? So it's been really good. I think the ones that have stood out so far, I did the Spain game against Costa Rica. Spain were electric. Funny, I tipped them before the tournament, and just purely on the fact of last year when we covered the Euros, they were very good, but they just lacked a bit of cutting edge. But now they have, obviously, Patelis is back, Hermoso, and they looked very good in that first game. Brazil I did as well over the weekend, and Brazil were really, really sharp, very, very good, very strong. France, very disappointed with France. Jamaica were absolutely brilliant, deserved the point, and it's good to see a couple of those kind of underdogs as well, something similar to ourselves, that are putting in good performances, because the gap is generally closing. Eric, I don't think we'll see the kind of 7, 8, 9-0 as what we've seen in previous World Cups, and I think that's due to the fact that teams now, they're obviously fitter, stronger, in terms of a lot of them are more professional, but I also think the coaching is a lot better in terms of how well the teams are being coached, how well they're being organised, set up, the amount of data that's available now, even from Stephen's job, can find out information about anyone you want all over the world. So in terms of maybe checking out teams and looking at teams before pre-matches and all that kind of stuff, you know every little detail that you need to know. So I think that's a factor in how much the gap is closing as well. But I think it's been really good so far. And to echo what Stephen said, obviously the Irish game last Thursday, I thought they were really, really good and deserved the bare minimum was a point is what they deserved.
Yeah, I think they all got. I think everyone, all the fans of the Irish were boosted by the fact that they realised Sam Kerr wasn't going to be playing for them, and she's their star player, and she's the star player of the Women's Premier League as well. She's Chelsea's number one striker, and
that gave us a good lift before the match as well. That news was filtering through. I think they were clever what they did at Australia, because by all accounts she was injured a couple of days beforehand, and that's hard to keep that down and not let it out, especially nowadays. And they managed to do it because the word only started to filter through an hour before, so that gave them a boost as well. But something I noticed as well, Eric, and even in covering the games and doing your bit of research on the different teams, you look at the rankings, right, and the likes of Jamaica and Haiti and a couple of these teams, and you see teams ranked in the 40s and the 50s against teams ranked in the top 10, if you like. But and sometimes you can kind of be a bit bit kind of led astray by that, because you're thinking, oh, there must be a major gulf in class here. It's actually a lot closer than what you think in terms of the rankings as well. And I look at us even, and people think, oh, well, we're 22nd and we're playing against teams like Canada are 7, Australia are 10. Oh, they must be a million times better than us. It's not the case at all. We're every bit as good as some of the teams, so they shouldn't be kind of sent astray, as I say, by those kind of rankings.
The French result put us off a little bit. Going there, the momentum of that result at home didn't help the situation, but by no means were Australia that many places better than us on the day. We had so many corners, so many threatening positions. I thought we should have got.
And it wasn't a case of like you're looking at the game and you're thinking like that, as Stephen said, the home nation, like all the talk before the match, red hot favourites, like we're really up against it here. Courtney Brosnan didn't have a save to make.
That's what I was going to say to you.
One save she had just before half time, a shot from about 30 yards, comfortable. I would have saved it, Stephen would have saved it, and it wasn't like one of those backs to the wall, like and then peppering the goal. Obviously the penalty is such a disappointment, because it was more just a kind of coming together and clumsy rather than actually anything else, to be fair. And obviously Sheva was so disappointed, you could see it written all over her face. But then the reaction was really good, and I suppose that's where the criticism comes in. People are saying, oh, could we maybe go a bit after the game from earlier in the game? But I felt the game plan was right in what Vera did, and then obviously when we had to change it, she went after the game, just couldn't create that clear-cut chance. But I felt overall it was a really good performance.
I think a lot of the criticism around Vera Pauw, if you want to call it criticism, is that in that game, Stephen, they said the changes that Al alluded to there, she should have made them a lot earlier. And also the fact that with 5 minutes to go, she threw Louise Quinn up front, the big centre half up front. Now, in fairness, I nearly walked out because she nearly scored with a header, which just went by. But you've got someone like Amber Barrett who got them to the World Cup. She's a striker, she's an impact player, and I've never heard of a player during the match who's had her bib off and on and off and on so many times during the match that she didn't actually get on. Would there be a criticism of Vera Pauw maybe not taking a chance on someone like Amber Barrett?
No, I think Amber will feel hard done by being 1-0 down as a striker, and you see a centre back going up for literally to go and try and affect the game. Amber's got a natural goal scoring habit, I think, by looking at her goals. She scored the goal against Scotland was a topo, but it's a finisher's finish,
wasn't
like, it's a real striker's finish. Even say with Quinn's header, that was a set piece, so she would have been up there anyway for that. But Ireland really dominated the game in terms of that, so I can see why she didn't bring her on. But then they put the centre forward or the centre back up for the last 5 minutes, kind of gives you a little bit of a, oh God, that should have been me.
Yeah, that's the only fault I have with Vera the other day, if you like, Eric, in the sense that even if you want to put Louise up, that's fine, because especially as we've seen in previous games, she's a real threat, particularly from set pieces. That one, she should have scored from Katie's cross near the end, just glanced off her head. So I have no problem with that, where you're chasing the game and you throw her up or whatever. But I still felt there was room for Amber, along with putting Louise up, because at that stage you're 1 down. We don't need the 3 at the back. You might as well lose 2-0 at that stage.
I think we had too many in-swinging corners. I'm going to be a little bit critical on. We had that many set pieces that went to the back post, and there was no real, until that Quinn header, there was not really any movement towards the near post. Everything was hit with good quality, because it's harder to hit
Katie,
back post in swinging corner than it is to hit a near post. So to get it there, it's hard. I thought we could be a bit more adaptable on corners. Yeah,
and when you look at, I suppose, the introduction of Larkin was absolutely fantastic. She's only 18 years of age. She was absolutely brilliant. The question is now, everybody kind of the clamour to start her, but I don't think Vera will change her. We're playing against the team, and I know I'm speaking about the rankings, but they're higher ranked than Australia,
Olympic champions.
So she's going to stick to the game plan, and I'm fine with that, because she'll argue, Vera, do we have the players to kind of come out and be expansive? Something similar to all the stuff we've heard over the years with the men's game. But she'll feel if we come out and be expansive.
Stephen's come out, we haven't won a game since. Yeah. Joe, by the way, Joe.
and then we'll be caught out, so that's what she's thinking, and that's fine. And we always knew it was going to be a tight group. And maybe if it was the same thing tomorrow, maybe a little bit more on the front foot, cause them a couple of more problems, and we even a draw, then you're coming into Nigeria with basically thinking we win this, we're through.
Yep. She said in the press conference there, at the very latest press conference ahead of the Canada match, that they were asking her why they play 5 at the back and they sit so deep, and would they not push 5-10 yards up the pitch? And she said, we have great defenders, but they're not the quickest.
Yeah, I heard it, yeah.
Which is kind of a damning indictment. I wonder, like, I mean, the Irish, I know, like, the Dutch trait is to be direct, and that's what Vera.
What was it Stephanie said when she was in with it? Blunt.
Blunt, yeah. She just.
And that's a blunt comment, but. I see what she's saying, though. Yeah. I see what she's saying in the sense, because I've covered all the games. You've Louise, Niamh, and they don't have that kind of recovery pace, if you like, if the ball goes over the top. They do sit low block. The only one is Diane Caldwell, who actually is a little bit quicker than the other two, but she chose to play Megan as one of the three at the back, Megan Connolly. So I know what she's saying, and it does sound like a blunt comment, but I suppose she's trying to explain it from her point of view as to why they stay so deep and just offer that protection.
Because even McCabe, O'Sullivan on the break look like they can run with the ball through on the counter attacks. Listen, I thought we were very good, like, so the back three defended the 18-yard line. They did, but they defended it well. There's a difference.
Really well.
A low block and not defending well, but a low block defending well gives you a chance to counter attack.
Gives you a platform, yeah.
But the only thing with the counter attack, and Stephen's right, is it's a hell of a distance then to get up the pitch. And to be fair to Katie, like, if she's winning the ball, I said to you before the tournament, Eric, I don't like her in that wing back position, because you want her centrally involved. She's their best player.
She comes central second half, whether it was just through knowledge of play from a wing back these days can come in, and she actually drove through the middle.
And that's where you want her, because and she gives you that energy and aggression. She was brilliant, an absolutely brilliant game she had, but it is a hell of a distance to get up the pitch. When you're penned in, Stephen will tell you that left wing can be an absolute shift,
and that's why two up front maybe I was thinking about it on the way up. Could you actually go with the two of them up front? Because both of them run down the side. Amber likes to run anyway, and the centre forward does.
There's
run,
no way she'll change two up front. Not a hope. She'll go with the same.
Just on Katie McCabe, she was heavily criticised by the Aussie press. She said that there was a headline that said "Public Enemy #1." For her,
she was having a running battle, wasn't she? With
she was on it.
The Australian girl, yeah, and there was a real aggression. But like the stats showed, she was only pulled up for one foul.
She was brilliant.
One foul, and yet she was labelled as this.
She hit the one. To be fair,
she won the ball and went through her.
Went through her. Like, I went, okay, I like that. But with VAR, it's dangerous, right?
Yeah. It was dangerous.
Yeah, I suppose.
If you look at it, you can
dangerous.
go. It was actual dangerous play, and it could have been a red card. If
when that happened, I was like, what a tackle, brilliant. And then when the replay came and it slowed it down, I was like,
oh no,
we were all hiding. We were all going, no, don't look at that too closely. Like.
But I loved what she did. I thought it's the best game I've seen her play in a long, long time. She's the captain. Like, all the media attention, the focus on her, that can be difficult, but she brought the game. Like,
she embraced it, didn't she? Yeah, and she reminded me of a certain Stephen Hunt with her aggression and wind up opponents and all that.
When I said tuck
she
it in,
better hair.
Game knowledge,
Eric, she has better hair. Look.
He's growing his hair out. Right? I'm gonna have to go for the transplants if I do a deal in September. I'm thinking about it already. Like, but it's anyone out there in Dublin want to give me no, so it's still there. Actually, the wife,
the silver fox.
Let alone
I never thought I'd see the silver fox in you.
Let alone did she say you might need the transplants. The wife, she said, well, you might need to go back a bit darker back then. Nah, I like the grey's all right.
He's grown all gracefully. I like it.
Yeah. Sorry, but let's say that.
Sorry, Stephen, just getting back to football talk and moving away from the hair talk, because this isn't the house of hair, this is the house of football. But as a man who's been in major tournaments, okay, you see comments like the Canadian manager was, I suppose, I mean, it depends what way you take it, right? You could say what she said was complimentary, but also you could say what she said was fairly disparaging about the Irish team. She said things like they're full of heart, they're full of passion, they put their bodies on the line, and we have to match that, and then our quality will shine through, and we should win. There's comments like that from opposition managers. Does it ever wind you up as a group? Or
I think we've been hearing it for years, men's, ladies football, but once we have that, the DNA is our heart and it is our effort, our willingness to win a game. With comments like that, really just doesn't really bother players. I don't
just
think.
water off a duck's back.
Yeah, I think so. I like you're together that long anyway. in camp that managers are overthinking things, they're saying things they probably shouldn't be saying. With that kind of comment, I think Ireland will just be like, okay, bring it on. Like.
And it's true as well, Eric. That's what we are.
Yeah.
You know, obviously if he's being critical of that, but in terms of us, from our point of view, you focus on that and you play to your strengths. We mentioned Katie there. The one thing she did was bring all that aggression and that energy and that heart and that fight, and it was brilliant to see. We'd be critical of Katie if she wasn't bringing all that. We'd be saying, where's the fight?
Pulling out tackles and whatever. Yeah.
You know, so that's what we expect nearly.
Yeah.
And then you're hoping the football quality will take over after that.
As a player who's played in tournaments as well, Stephen, like you mentioned, you were in camp. Like this current Irish women's team, they're in camp now for like 6 or 7 weeks. It's a long time, isn't it, to be stuck together in a group? How do you overcome things like boredom and repetition and what did you just do?
It's experience, right? You can only have that. Like I went myself 2012. I was half injured and there. Worst thing ever, because I'm overthinking everything.
Right.
Am I okay? Am I fit? Can I train tomorrow? Am I going to train tomorrow? It's a long build up. Like once you're training in a flow and it's entertaining, we had Trapp who really messed up, in my opinion, the build up to the Euros, how we went, how we were. It's a long time ago now to be even talking about it. But from that experience now, if I was going back to a tournament, I'd have the experience of it and I'd be easier to deal with your time. Like I had a young player go with England 21s. So learn from it how you spend your time, what you do, how you like the couple of hours you have free. How
do you switch off?
When you say the build up, Stephen, what was the build up, or what was the part that kind of irritated you?
Just repetitive training.
And how long were you together before you travelled? I
think it must have been 3, 4, 4 weeks, 5 weeks before the Euros in Poland that we were together, and by the end of it we were flat.
It was just that repetitive thing every day.
Like same shape, same work. Mix the training up, go somewhere. Like we didn't do anything that livened us up or had a bit of crack with it. I'm not saying go on.
No, of course not. No.
Break it up a bit.
Have cultures, whatever way. Like Stan would have like cultures versus dubs or whatever. Like just make a bit of fun of training. Some days easy.
Is there any drinking at all? Is there any kind of like even if it's like 4 or 5 weeks away, would you have a night where you have it here allowed 2 or 3?
Now no.
No,
I don't think so. I don't think now is even.
There's too much.
They don't even want to do it, the players.
Right.
I don't think. Like I remember one player saying to me, "Have a few drinks, you'll enjoy it more." I won't name the player.
Like everything really.
But I'm looking at him right, going, I burst my balls to get here. Right. The last thing I want to do is have a few drinks.
Yeah.
It won't do anything for me. Like. Certain times it will.
Wasn't it Risha Littlejohn who said in the interview during it's like the Big Brother house, because you're away so long and it can be kind of that kind of
100%.
Yeah, almost crammed in together, and they're on top of you. There's interviews, there's media, so you do have to break it up. Bring in people, bring in comedians, bit of crack.
Yeah.
I'm available for Australia if anyone needs me down there. A few jokes, just
quickly,
let you know.
Help 999 and I'm out there. But even I was going to say that I lost my track there, but yeah, just by having different evenings. Different stuff like that really helps.
And there's a lot of travel at the moment as well. That's causing them a problem. They're going like obviously from they're in Perth now at the moment, and that's going to take its toll as well on them as well, Eric. I think so. You do need to be always thinking of ideas, quiz nights, do whatever you have to do to kind of keep them all interested, and that can be tough on the management to come up with things.
The problem I have now is everything's on Instagram.
Yeah,
everything, like the girls are having a game of pool, like, having a crack.
Yeah.
Piss off, like, sorry. Like, we want to have a bit of banter, we want to be able to say stuff. I don't want to have Kieran from the FEI social media who brings his humour to the table. Like, you can tell,
sure
like,
Kieran's a gas fella.
Really.
I know what you're saying. Come here, Anya O'Gorman, and Anya O'Gorman is one of our most vastly experienced players, and she's on the periphery of the team, so to speak. As are some of our big. You mentioned Diane Caldwell, and other girls like that. Like, what's it like, Stephen, to be on the fringes of the squad or a tournament? I'm not. You were obviously
keep coming.
You went in with an injury. That's why you were on the fringes. It wasn't nothing to do with your ability, Stephen. We know that. We know you were a favourite of Trapp's.
Yeah.
But like, how do you keep yourself relevant and motivated, and like, how do you support the players that are playing and all that? What's your mindset?
Once you're fit, it's not an issue because you know your job. You're able to go, right, I'm ready to go. Just be ready. I think as you're an impact player coming on in a World Cup for these girls, it's amazing. Just be ready for the moment, analyse the situation, analyse the game, right back, left back, if I'm coming on, whatever position you think you're going to come on, then just be ready to take advantage of that.
Was there any tension at all in the squad for players who probably felt they deserved the game? Did you feel any vibes off anyone? I don't have to name names by any means.
No, but with players, if you're a starter
So you know
probably
your role.
won't bring you on. So if you're a centre half, you probably know you're not going to come on bar total disaster or an injury. As a winger, you kind of know.
Depending on the game.
Depending on the game. With Trap, I was either coming on to defend the game or coming on to win a game. So I pretty much knew every time when I was fit, I was playing.
Okay, and so that kept you motivated.
It was easy to keep me motivated,
right.
yeah.
Because you knew.
Yeah, like, God bless Stephen Kelly would be a right back and probably knowing he's not going to get on. It's not easy being in the dressing room before the game, or Kev Foley say, no disrespect to the two, but if you're a right back centre half, it's hard to get on the pitch. And with that, they know their level, so they're always pretty calm, if you know what I mean. Where I was hyper.
On the edge.
On the edge of like telling someone, right, you live in the... and
doing your stretches or warm up in front of the manager and all, I'm ready, boss, I'm ready.
And people look at me now going, how are you so different off the pitch? But that's what I was within the dressing room and the role you had as a player. So
I don't think you're one bit different.
Well, high intensity, only in
you're
here.
The exact same. You've bounced in here, you have. I love it.
Imagine higher intensity than what we're getting right now on the pitch. That's what makes Stephen the player he was.
Here it is, like my 8-year-old daughter, she's high intensity beyond belief, right? I'm looking at her going, I can see all my traits.
This the youngest one. This the footballer.
The youngest
the apple
one,
doesn't
right?
fall far up the tree.
She'll my missus will go, are you Ireland or England you going to play for? I'm like, Ireland. What are you talking about, Mum? Like, I'm Irish, like. And she's like, full on, like, you know, the endorsements are better with England. Just testing her, like, no chance, like.
Is she watching the matches and all? Yeah,
she's watching the matches.
Brilliant.
To be fair, I've had like a couple of Premier League teams in England come let her play. Like I said, no, she's enjoying her soccer. She's going to jump on a horse. She's going to play some tennis when she comes home. She's going to play.
Be a kid.
Leave us alone. Come back at 15, like.
Yeah.
And I see these kids going off now, and I'm going, oh no.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
I'm going to give you your props here, Stephen. By the way, like we'll move on to transfer talk fairly soon, but we have to give Mr. Hunt some props here because we had a discussion about James Maddison a few weeks ago, and we thought he's gone to Newcastle, Stonewall. He's gone to Newcastle, and he said no, he won't go to a top 4 team, and he fancies the bright city lights of London. And while lo and behold, Maddison was announced as a new Spurs signing. So credit to you, Stephen. There you do have a bit of knowledge about the transfer market.
If we go
James
like
Maddison.
Series 2 with this, I want to come back and assess January time where James Maddison, who he's going to pass to, because there's no runners in front of him, because Harry Kane has dropped into his role or gone to Bayern Munich by the looks of it, or United last minute.
Do you think he'll struggle at Spurs?
Yeah, I don't know where he's going to play. He did play off the left or play in the hole, and I'm not too sure he has the intensity for the manager to run around.
Because he does play a high intensity game, doesn't he? The ex-Celtic manager.
I think it's a great move for him. I love Maddison, as you know.
If Harry goes, who's he going to play to? What pace have he got to play? What runners on the side? Some, to be fair.
Yeah, some maybe Richarlison, but I have me one bit impressed.
You're in a bit of pain, aren't you? You are, like, Spurs are in a bit of pain right now. Like.
No, Kane won't go. I don't think Kane will go.
There's a lot of chat about Kane. Like the one thing,
I'm loving Harry Kane's tactic, by the way.
Oh, do you?
Do you think he'll go?
As in, like, not saying a word. I ain't going. I'm not.
Well, according to Bayern, he said a few words, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's promised us he's coming to us.
Yeah, apparently his wife was over there looking at schools the other day and stuff like that. Yeah, but not saying a word.
I'd be shocked if he went to Bayern.
Like Levy let him down last year. I think he probably should have let him go last year.
I think Levy lets a lot of people down, doesn't he?
So he had a gentleman's agreement.
With the Bayern thing?
Yeah.
Purely from the point of view of the goal scoring record. I think that's the only thing that's there for him to play for now.
Yeah.
And he's been with Spurs for such a long time. The argument comes in then about people, do you want to be one of these players that have stayed at a club for 10, 15 years but never won a trophy? If he's going to Bayern, it's because he's just so he can turn around and say, well, I have a trophy now, you can't hit me with that stick. But why would you go to Bayern when if it's the record that he wants, which of course he wants? How greedy are goal scorers?
What is he, 47 goals away from the record? 47.
Yeah, it's another 3 or 4 years of 20 goals.
Let's just say Bayern agree a fee of 90 million and United go bang, there's the 90 million.
Now if he goes to United,
what happens
that's
then?
fine.
Will Levy allow him go to United?
Well, this is the thing, right? This is the thing
I'll just walk in a year's time to United.
Yeah, like I'm not saying I'd be shocked if he left Spurs. I'm saying I'd be shocked if he leaves Spurs for Bayern. But if he went to United and he's still in the Premier League and the record is still attainable, all that stuff, I
think what's happened with all this talk of Kane recently, and it highlighted to me, and I never even knew this, that Daniel Levy has a boss. I thought Daniel Levy was the number one. Joe Lewis is the boss. He's the head honcho. He lives in the Bahamas or something else, doesn't he? But he's the man who was said to
over there.
He's told Levy
like Hunty.
He's
Sandbanks of Ireland as well. I've always said that.
Clear the Sandbanks of Ireland. Look at him. He loves it.
But he's
when is he inviting us down there?
I know, yeah.
When
we could do the podcast from there.
When are you getting us down?
Yeah.
Kelly's in Crosslear. Get us down for a night.
Can I just say I beat Bill Kelly in paddle tennis yesterday? just to put it out
Bill
there.
Kelly, if you're listening, get us down for a night.
So basically my understanding now is that Levy has a boss, and Levy's boss has told him Kane has to go. He cannot be allowed to go for free next year. So Levy's now under pressure to sell, and that's apparently that's alerted Manchester United with going, well, whatever bid Bayern do, we'll match that. And the talk is that Kane would prefer to move to, just for those reasons you've outlined, Al, that he does want to break the Premier League record, and he feels that even under the new Ten Hag project that he has a better chance of winning trophies as well as beating the record. So
yeah, well, it always amazed me with Kane over the years that how United never came knocking for him, because if there was ever a club for Kane, it's United for me. And they've been crying out for a centre forward for how many number of years now. So when you think of the money they've wasted on other areas of the pitch, you would have broke the bank for Kane 3-4 years ago, in my view. Now whether they would have got him with Spurs, I don't know, but I always thought it was set up for Kane to go to United, and even more so now. So again, if I'm at Ten Hag and you're watching Bayern lurking in the background and the murmurs coming out of Spurs, is he going to go, is he not going to go, if I was Ten Hag, you'd be straight in.
I'd leave the handbrake up though. I'd let Bayern do the work now.
Yeah.
And then
watch the last minute.
Yeah, then come right where you
and
at?
what's 90 million to get Kane for another 3 or 4 years?
United should sign Kane. That's if they want to win the league.
To me, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. It's back in I know United were very successful during the 90s, but there was that time for a few years where they were linked with Shearer, and I was going, oh, please, come on, we got to get him, and it looked like the deal was done, and then obviously he signed for Newcastle.
But 3 years with, say, 30 million a year for Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Breaking into that, how the payments would go, 259 for a year for Mbappe. Kane will score you goals, there's no question about it.
No question.
And bring it into business now, you can see it.
It's not even
no, it's no-brainer.
A no-brainer.
Yeah. You just mentioned that certain French footballer.
Sorry,
no, you're grand,
he's 25 this year, so we're okay.
Saudi football in general has come in and has basically taken over football, or they're trying to take over football, and there's been a lot of players who've moved to Saudi. I love the fact that Koulibaly said he was moving. He was honest. He says, I'm moving purely for the money, and he says, I want to give my family a good future. Like, he probably has only earned about 20 or 30 million in his whole career. Like, God love him, like, you know.
31, is he?
32, Koulibaly, yeah, 31, 22.
Sorry,
but Jordan Henderson is the big name Premier League player who's been, like, apparently he's agreed terms. And there's a lot of outspoken critics of him because he championed the LGBTQ cause, and now Saudi are totally against all that. Is he wrong to move to the Saudi league? Like, they're saying the money's like after tax 350 grand with image rights 700 grand a week he's going to be earning for the next year or two. What's your thoughts on that, Stephen?
So
particularly as an agent.
Live Golf took on PGA.
Yeah.
And they got their way by hook or by crook. They got their way. This is again similar. They're taking on the Premier League. Really, it's the biggest league. They're coming for all the players. Most of the players are in the Premier League. What they're coming for. They'll
and the reason they
way.
took them on and not only one, blew them out of the water, because the PGA came out in the end and says there was resistance to it, but we just can't compete with the money that's been on offer here. And as much as we have the prestige and all, and it's the PGA Tour, he says the money that they were offering, we just can't compete. And then it was getting into lawsuits, and you were paying out lawyers and all sorts to try and win cases that he says we just couldn't. In the end, now they made a hames of it because the head of the PGA at that time came out with stuff last year and then completely contradicted himself. The name escapes me now, but they completely contradicts himself and made himself look like a bit of an idiot, really. And his position is totally untenable now. And he had McIlroy coming out championing, obviously, on behalf of the PGA, and then they went against McIlroy and the players and all. So that got really messy. Yeah. But in terms of the live stuff now, sorry, not the live stuff, the Saudi Arabian League and football, whatever about the likes of Henderson and these boys going, if the best player in the world is on the verge of going, that's trouble for football.
I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
They've accepted the bid, and that's fair enough, but it's up to him now.
They've accepted the bid from PSG, are owned by
Qataris,
you know.
I don't think
me a
he'll go
favour.
either. I would hate to see.
Yeah.
I would hate to see. And even on the Henderson one, I don't know what you think, Stephen, because you do have the 2 or 3 million in the bank. But if you were Henderson, okay, and this will be my take on it now, and each to their own, and everybody will say, well, the money and whatever's been on offer. But if I already was playing for Liverpool, really successful for the last 10 years, probably has the guts of 15, 20 million in the bank, whatever he has, and good luck to him. Why would you feel the need to go and earn another 5 or 10 and maybe tarnish your legacy, as you say, for all the reasons where he came out looking great during the World Cup and leading those campaigns, and now people are slating him for it? It wouldn't be me.
Yeah, and obviously, like with Henderson as well, he's such an influential player in that Liverpool dressing room. He's like, I suppose he's Klopp's lieutenant on the pitch.
Yeah, and it's not like Klopp is saying, out you go, there's no room for you here. He's still saying you'll be part of it. You may not play every week, but you'll be involved and all. So why would you even want to leave Liverpool?
Yeah. And like Steven Gerrard has gone over there now as well, Stephen. And well, props to Marco Silva. He was offered 40 million for 2 years.
No, he might end up there next week.
He might change his mind.
I think he's having a rethink.
His wife's probably gone.
Answer the question. What would
Did you read that offer properly?
If I was
Henderson, if you were offered the money.
Yeah, I think I've got to say I would be a tough one. You'd have to have. I can't just say, oh, yeah, I wouldn't go. But in the end, I'd say no. As Liverpool captain and the values and the history of Liverpool, it's not no disrespect to Reading or it's not like I'm going to be at Reading for the rest of my life after I finish playing. He could be at Liverpool for life for the job, like. So you're risking losing that reputation and going over there. I don't think this will be a big issue in 2 years' time. A bit like the golf, they'll bring each other together and it'll all evolve into one. I think.
Evolve into one in what way, Stephen? What do you think? Like, what can you see?
The Premier League's going to be too strong anyway, so other leagues are going to join other leagues eventually, I think, and that's the problem we have.
Across Europe, certain leagues will join certain leagues. I know we'll rebel against it. Whether it happens or not, I think it will. Like
as you said, like Live Golf basically took over the PGA, and DP World Tour. Could a similar scenario happen where the Saudi state take over FIFA? UEFA?
No, listen, this is way above my head. I've got my UEFA agent exam in September.
I think in the world we live in now, nothing can be ruled out, Eric, and that's the scary thing. Mm-hmm. And this is where FIFA and UEFA, to a certain degree, but mainly FIFA, this is where football needs to intervene now. Because if you have the best player in the world on the verge of signing for a club, whether he does or not, but they're offering 300 million for him, like, where does this end?
For one season.
Where does it end? Like this isn't the game we grew up loving, kicking ball on the street, and the beautiful game, if you like. You don't want to be coming out with phrases and cliches, but that's what it was. Football's soul is gone. Like there is no soul.
I think Mbappe wants to leave in a free, and they're trying to force him out. From what I can see, I can't see Mbappe going
and the only
ones
that can maybe save that and resurrect it is the governing body. And how to do that, I don't know, but you have to intervene somewhere to say this cannot happen. You can't just be coming in cherry picking players, offering them like bonkers money, obscene money, when you think of what's going on in the world and societies up and down, like all over Europe and the world, and this is what's going on. Like it can't happen.
Al, it's the real world we're in here.
I know, but it can't happen, Steve.
I know, but you be in church every. It's like it'll happen.
Where does it end?
It's like you can't say a building in London's worth 20 million. It's only a 2-bedroom apartment. Well, it's just the value of where they're at. They can do what they want with the money they have. They can offer what they want. It's really harsh saying that, but
is Lionel Messi on the moral high ground now because he only went to the MLS?
Messi is, from the day Ronaldo started throwing his dummy out, Messi took a level above him in my opinion. And how Ronaldo conducted when he lost his fitness and sharpness, because he couldn't move. Yeah, that's the truth of it. Has elevated Messi with the World Cup as well.
Messi was always the best.
But until then, I was like, oh God, the two of them are very different. But
no, Messi was always. You're on about the off the field stuff, are you?
I'm on about
even
the
whole
package.
On the pitch, how you conduct yourself when things go wrong.
Yeah, he was sure everybody knew. But that was when that's, as you know, Stephen, that's when the true colours come shining through. And when things are going wrong, and he's throwing his toys, we all, like, without going over old ground, we all see that.
You must know what's going to go wrong.
Messi never behaved like that ever.
No, and that's why that makes him now, in my opinion, the best ever.
The GOAT. The actual GOAT.
Yeah.
What is a player's motivation, Steve? Now I know you can't speak for every single player. Is it trophies or money?
Everyone's different. What's your?
But it can't be money. Sorry for interrupt, but it can't be, because you never started off the game to play for money.
Yeah, but you did. Some of them do, no? They
can't,
with TikTok and Instagram and...
Well, then they're wrong. They're in the wrong game.
The game is going that way. It's horrible.
No, but are you telling me a 14-year-old... My son sitting at home at 10 now was saying to himself, okay, I want to play for Bohemians, Man United, Liverpool, whoever the case may be, but just for the money. I'd run him out of the house.
Okay, do you know what? Do you know who I'd like? Yesterday, Robbie Savage's son turned up to Reading.
Charlie,
right?
Look, and he looks like a great kid, but he's not playing for money.
No, but he's not playing for money. But he turned up with a white, I don't know, a Bentley or something like that. And Reading put that on Instagram, and I'm going, we just got relegated to League One here. We're in a world of pain. Some DNA, please. Like, I don't mind him having the car. Just don't show anybody else that the car he's driving.
But that goes back to what you said a moment, the real world, that's what we're in, and that's the sad part of football now, because the money that's been offered, you have average players turning up for Reading or lower, even League 1, League 2 clubs, earning bonkers money. We had to work for it. There was incentives as a young kid. You were never getting that money handed to you. That's what I'm saying is the what's wrong with the game now, Eric. And if there's a young fella in the world that is sitting at home at 9, 10, 11 and he's only interested in playing football for money, he shouldn't be allowed to play football ever. That's wrong. That is all wrong.
The day you start chasing the pound sign or the euros in football is the day your career is over.
That stuff comes after. If you're successful with a football team or a football club, that will come and that's fine, and then you deal with it and that's grand. But you don't set out at 8, 9, 10 thinking I'm going to be a great footballer because I'm going to be a great jockey. I'm going to be this for money.
At 32, 33 I started thinking about money.
Right.
And that's when it went wrong for me.
Really?
Generally just, no, my heart wasn't in it. I could feel it myself. Your emotion of trying to score a goal or trying to get the next contract. Maybe because my body let me down at that age, I was thinking, sugar, what should I do or whatever.
Yeah, but I think, to be fair to you, Steve, that's a different story at 33 maybe, because you're trying to think the next the next contract could
but
be
you do
last
lose
contract.
that edge as soon as you start thinking about the pound sign.
That's
or the
all
euros.
wrong, Eric. That is all wrong. Honestly, in my view, if Harry came in to me tonight and says, Dad, look at the car he has and I'm going to play football because I'm going to have 4 of them cars, I'd say, will you? Yeah? Out.
Yeah. You do wonder though, because like sports news, Sky Sports News is saturated with all this Saudi talk, Saudi money. The figures are eye-wateringly huge. There probably are kids out there going, well, if I was a parent to a kid who's fairly decent at football, I'd be booting him out into the garden. Go, get out there and practice.
No, there's where you're wrong. Parents.
Yeah, but
it sounds so bad, isn't it? Go on.
But you'd be booting him out just for the young fella to play and practice, but you wouldn't be booting him out thinking, go out there now, and if you're,
I want you playing for Al Nassr,
and you'll get $1 million a year. I just think that is the wrong approach. What's all wrong if that's the case. And if there is parents encouraging young fellas to be good, well, just for money or whatever, they're probably wrong to be putting pressure on kids anyway, and there's plenty of them doing that. But if it's for money reasons,
is it do you think this whole Saudi business is just like a flash in the pan, like the Chinese league that, spectacularly offered huge sums of money a few years ago and then it all fell apart? Or it is apparently the Saudi investment fund has £17 billion to spend on their league and recruiting players. £17 billion.
That's what I'm saying.
I would not take these guys not serious because they know how to get things done business wise, and golf, they've got their way now. They're in. They're combined with the PGA. They've got in. So there's obviously a method to their madness. The money has to come at the start of it to grab people's attention, and after that there'll be a plan. Like there must be plans for universities, college, getting people over, the coaches over to coach over there to improve their kids. By getting all these players, they'll improve. And don't forget the Saudi Arabian football team were in the World Cup the last time. They didn't disgrace themselves.
No, they beat
Argentina. Actually
the only team to beat them.
So you look at it and you go, well, actually maybe they are trying to, underneath it all, get these players over there to educate them, get better coaches over there. I'll be honest with you, I've had a meeting with a couple of guys that have set up different things, universities, education, how do you combine the two, about going to Saudi Arabia and bringing players over to go over there and
I was even reading something there recently last week that the Saudi second and third division as well are looking to get established, and they're looking to bring in players from the lower leagues around Europe, and they're offering them so just say for argument's sake you're a League of Ireland player playing the Premier Division, but a Saudi third division club can offer you something like $6-7 grand a week, a car and an apartment.
Yeah, it's crazy, Eric. But as I say, nothing surprises me because the money that's on the table here is just bonkers money. But that's, again, it goes back to, that's all just manufacturing a league. Where's the heart and soul of that?
There's no history to it.
There's no history.
I'll go back to the girls' soccer at the start. There's no memories to bounce off. There's no memories to go, I want to be like that in 10 years' time. If McCabe scores a goal in the group stages that get us to the quarterfinals, the last 16, forever for the next 5-6 years. The girls will always try and be McCabe.
Yeah, and their moment at the moment is the Amber Barrett goal in Scotland.
Yeah,
you know that goal will be going around like Ronnie Whelans and Ray Houghtons for the next 100 years, like. And that's their moment. Yeah. But in terms of that stuff, that's because obviously you look at football in England and the pyramid system and the clubs, and that's been set up over hundreds of years or whatever. They're just manufacturing that. If they're trying to bring in a second division and a third division, bring in players, like, where does it end, Eric?
Yeah.
Honestly, it infuriates me, because if this is where football is headed, let me off the train. Now
what do you know about the Dutch league?
What do I know about it?
What do you know about the Dutch league?
Well, I know a good
Tell me some information about it. Who's top goal scorer last year?
Top goal scorer last year was Feyenoord striker. I haven't got a clue.
There's no emotion to there either. So why can't they bring them players to Saudi Arabia to set up a league there and go, well, actually, we'll create
I suppose you have to start sometime.
So Ronaldo said they want to be better than the Dutch league in 2 years. 3 years' time, they're going to be bigger than the Dutch league, Germany.
Yeah, but if they're bringing the likes of those players, Dutch players, German players, bring them at slightly higher money than what maybe. But if you're bringing fellas purely bribing fellas nearly with money, that's where it's wrong.
But it's the only way they can get them there now is that, and then the money will start coming down, and the money will filter out a little bit more to the lesser players as well. I know it's a contradiction. I don't want to see it happening either. But
is it similar to what Man City have done to the Premier League?
No, because it's a bit. No, the history of the Premier League is not easy to win. So Man City they didn't win the league the first couple of years under Mark Hughes. I don't think it took them a couple of years to get there. But again, clubs are buying clubs in Europe now to control things. Like Man City have 6-7 clubs. Hull have just bought Shells, haven't they? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So everyone's trying to
Still
have their.
Beat by bows. But anyway, sorry.
Sorry, but we are.
To shoehorn that in, Steve.
It's a random time of the year talking about football anyway, right? We should be talking about the hurling final, but this is what it is.
We had Dave Fitzgerald in this seat yesterday. Would you believe, Steve?
David Fitzgerald.
Dave Fitzgerald, yeah.
Oh, and how's he still got a job?
We should have told him. We should have said.
How's he still got a job? Like
Stephen Hunt is after your job. Stephen Hunt is after your job.
You're right, Hunty. I agree with you.
Even I beat him and fit his family. I got fit his family. I beat him and I got sacked the next year. He sacked me just because I upset him and beat him and fit his family.
That's how competitive.
Threw the toys out of the pram.
Threw the toys out only because I gave it him full lock. The whole lot. Sorry, lads.
Look, we want. I just want to go back to the World Cup again. We have a massive game tomorrow at 1:00. There is a lot of watch along. What do you call parties or watch along parties or whatever events happening around the country. I was at one last week in Dalymount for the first game, and it was brilliant. There was a big screen on the side of the pitch. Everyone decked out in their green. I'd say it was about 500 there. Same thing is happening again in Dalymount, and just Google watch along parties. There should be one near you where you live, and you should go to them and support the girls in green. It's a massive match. It could be an historic match. I would just love to see us scoring a goal.
Yeah,
I would love to see us have that moment.
Don't feel so desperate, like we are. We played well the last day. Come on,
that's the thing. If they bring that energy and that performance, I think there is a goal there for America. I think they have a really good chance of coming out of the group.
Yeah,
they really do. Yeah. And even if tomorrow was a draw and it comes down to that last game, if you had to say to Vera beforehand that it would come down to the game against Nigeria as a shootout to get through, she would have snapped her hand off.
Snapped your hand off, exactly. You said you predicted Spain at the start. Great prediction, by the way, Al, because I predicted America. America are the favourites, all right, but Spain are second favourites. But I was watching the documentary on the Lionesses winning the Euros last week, and I forgot how good Spain were in that semi-final against England.
Brilliant.
Like England got out of jail against
extra
them.
Time.
Yeah. And Spain dominated the match.
And they were missing a centre forward, you know.
But now they have them, haven't they?
Yeah,
and their best player in the world is back with Spain.
Hermoso, who's their leading scorer as well, is up front.
So based on that, I'd be like, well, if it's not America, it'll be Spain, I think, who will win it.
And watch Spain, because they play exactly like the Spanish men's team. It's just death by 1,000 passes, but they're so incisive. There's a girl playing Bonmati, centre midfield, number 6. For me, she's the best player in the world. She's absolutely unbelievable, and she was brilliant in the first match as well. She scored, I think, their second goal, but she's an absolute star. They're mainly made up of the Barcelona team, few from Real Madrid, but it's mainly the Barcelona side, and obviously they won the Champions League as well only a few weeks back against Wolfsburg. So she's an absolute star, Bonmati. Better than some of the men's players I played with over the years. She's brilliant.
Reece James' sister, obviously,
she came on.
He's quite quick to say she is better than most men that he's seeing. Like.
She's very powerful as well.
England were disappointing though in their first round.
Yeah, they were.
I know they're missing three big players. Obviously, Beth Mead is injured, Frank Kirby and Leah Williamson. So they struggled without those three. Haiti now were brilliant.
Haiti were good, weren't they?
Yeah, we got up front. Demorne, who's going to be an absolute star.
They played a good counter-attacking play on the day, and I thought, wow, they're powerful, quick.
Couple of great chances. Mary Earps, the keeper for England, saved them. She was brilliant.
Mary Earps. I'll talk about her in a second, but what do Ireland need to do tomorrow to get the result?
Much more of the same, I think, and then a bit more guile around the goal. I think the set pieces, for all the set pieces they had, was a little bit, someone getting across the near, some outswingers. We've got some powerful girls in the air. Can we actually get some outswingers and let them get ahead on it? So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, you're thinking with those set pieces, even from watching all the other teams, you need to just put it into an area. You don't need to pick anyone out. Just give them a chance. France were the same. Renard, big, tall, 6'4", imposing figure at the back. Unbelievable in the air. But they were over-hitting the cross. You don't even need to pick her out. Float them into an area and just let her attack. If
there's one part of the girls' football that struggles, it's the goalkeepers, in my opinion.
They've actually got a lot better, to be fair.
Yeah, on crosses, for me, they're still a bit weak on
Mary
crosses.
Earps now was unbelievable for England the other day.
She's a proper goalkeeper. Just like you just mentioned Mary Earps, she's in the news recently, and rightly so. She was giving out about the fact that you can't get goalkeepers' jerseys.
I saw it. It's a disgrace.
Isn't that just shocking? Like
Nike, so they're selling all the England jerseys at the moment for like all the players, Ciara Walsh, Chloe Kelly, all the stars, Lauren Hemp, whoever you want, Russo up front, but they're not selling the goalkeeper's jersey. And she came out in a social media campaign, didn't she, and said this is a disgrace. Like we girls might want an Earps #1 jersey.
Yeah.
You should be able to get it.
She said she's giving it the Nike giving it the wrong message that you should only be an outfield player. So the goalkeeper is a lesser position.
All Nike and Adidas, and I don't mind saying this, they just want to give the strikers boots now. They don't care about the fullbacks, they don't care about the midfielders, and definitely don't care about the goalkeepers, because I got a few on my books and I like trying to get blood out of a stone with them.
Gloves. So Mary Earps, I mean, I suppose it's another indictment of where the women's game still needs to go to catch up with the men's game. But it's still, let's be honest, it is moving in the right direction. The World Cup is on, everyone's gripped by it. I can't wait. I don't like getting up in the mornings, but when there's a match on the television, I'm only delighted to jump out of the bed and switch on the television. There's a live match in front of me. Huge game tomorrow, 1 o'clock. I hope the whole country is watching it. And the girls feel that passion and feel the, and I hope, that's why I say I'd love for us to get a goal and a result, so that the girls, when they're down under, see the footage from back home, and that would feed them, that would give them the impetus to go on.
I think what happened as well, Eric, because everybody was building up the first game, obviously as a huge occasion, but almost building it up like, well, we're up against it here and this will be tough. Like, people maybe didn't get on board with that. Now they've seen a really good performance, seen us competitive at this level
against one of the favourites,
and now you're thinking everybody will be in it tomorrow, and hopefully, and as you say, if they were to get that goal or a victory, the whole thing could just take off. In terms of that Italia 90 feel. And then if it came down to that shootout with Nigeria and you were to get through, and all of a sudden you're in the knockout stages and it's Tim Off Day against Bonner and all those kind of things. It'd be unbelievable.
We need it, don't we? To get to the next level of the girls soccer. And now that we're there, that moment you need.
Yeah, we do. We need an Italian 90 moment or something, Who's our key players tomorrow? Obviously Katie.
Yeah, Denise did her stuff, but I still would prefer to see Denise a little bit higher up the pitch, and that might be a change you could look at tomorrow, because she's playing just sitting in front of the back three with Little John beside her, and they're very good. And
Little John was excellent.
Yeah, very good. And they can do that. Denise can do that, no problem, in terms of she's brave and wants to receive the ball and get on it. But just you're saying about maybe scoring a goal, if she's receiving it 25, 30 yards higher up the pitch, all of a sudden she's in a position where it's a true ball and someone on the end of it, and we could get a goal. Whereas when she's so deep on the half line, it's obviously a harder pass, or you're going to have to break 2 lines maybe.
I agree with you. Denise was as solid as ever. She'll run all day, covers every blade of grass. But I felt we didn't see her at her optimum, maybe because she was playing a little bit deeper than normal, but also the fact that she nearly missed the game through the injury after the friendly against Colombia. And I wonder, was she carrying the knock a little bit?
Yeah, and Stephen said a word a moment ago there, a bit of guile. She has that. She has that, and that's what a lot of the others don't have. So she brings that bit of X factor that between herself and Katie, the 2 best players. And again, I prefer to see Katie centrally, but certainly Denise, you just want her that bit higher up the pitch, for the likes of Imagine Young Larkin coming on the end of a through ball, or Heather Payne or whatever. So that's again, like, they're at this stage where it's such an achievement to get to the World Cup. We want them to nearly be winning the World Cup already. People need to calm down. It goes through phases. The next step is maybe getting a win, getting a goal even. And they play a certain way, and I know people can be saying they're critical of it, and I've covered. Vera's played like this for 3-4 years. This isn't a new thing.
It's no surprise.
This is not a new thing, and it's the hardest thing in football to create chances and score goals. So they're trying to put those building blocks in place. You need to build from a solid foundation, which they have, and that's maybe the next progression.
So from what you were saying as well, Stephen, get better at our set pieces, because that is one of our strengths. Vary the corners a little bit, near post, back post. But
I think we went through the lines in the second half quite nicely to get on the end of things. I think just a little poacher tomorrow, whether it is Amber coming off the bench. I get the feeling Katie will be involved, whether she's scoring or setting up. She has that near the end. Because we were 1-0 down and she was coming off the left and she was getting involved. Can we play a little bit more freer with then in the final third, just a little bit more guile?
So before we go, lads, can I get a prediction off you?
I think it'll be a draw again tomorrow.
Yeah, and that keeps us alive.
1-1, I think.
A goal?
We'll get the goal.
Is it a goal now?
Yeah, I think
so you're saying there's a chance. Okay, I like Steve.
Yeah, I think we'll improve on our set pieces, because we'd have looked at, if I'm an analyst on with the Irish team now, 10, 12 corners I think at least. We had definitely 12 at one stage, 6 second half at least. We'll score a goal and hopefully we can keep a clean sheet. 1-0 will be amazing.
Yeah, and I don't worry about them defensively. That's the thing. They're sound defensively.
Yeah.
Even the keeper's very good, Brosnan. They're sound defensively. But as we know in football, it's the other end of the pitch. That's why he's talking about Nike and Adidas only interested in strikers. That's why they get the big money, Eric. It's the ones who put the ball in the net are the main men.
Yeah, and then I'll this time next year will have new hair as well. He'll be down there. Hair like I used to have.
I remember that.
Mine's falling out.
Yeah.
Sky Sports, I'll be
paying well.
Sky Sports.
Paying well, they must be RT. Oh, wait there. You won't go there.
I need a new agent.
Hey, look, I know we were giving out about the Saudis, but if they're looking for a new podcast. So that brings us to the end of episode 18 of House of Football with William Hill and Sports Joe. I had a great chat with Alan Cawley and Stephen Hunt. Lads, thanks very much for your insightful input and glorious chat about hair. I'll never forget it. Can't wait for next week's House of Hair episode. We have Vidal Sassoon coming in and Peter Marks, so that should be a good episode. But for now, you know the story. Tune in, subscribe, tell your mates, share, like, and all of that kind of stuff. And we'll talk to you again next week.
You've been listening to House of Football, brought to you by Sports Joe and William Hill.